Well, as we continue to overwhelm donation centers with all of this stuff that we're decluttering from our houses, there's been a lot of conversation about what is the best thing or the most responsible thing to do with all of this stuff we're getting rid of. And so let's talk about what's best for us, what's best for our family, what's best for the planet, coming up next. Well, hi, I'm Dawn from The Minimal Mom. If we haven't met before, I'm married to Tom and we have 4 kids ages 4 through 9, and our oldest 3 actually headed back to school today, and so it's kind of quiet around here, and I think I'm gonna miss them, mostly because we had a really good summer. And so Gage and I are hanging out today, and so I thought we could tackle this topic of what we do with all of this stuff that we're decluttering from our houses, because like I said, you've heard the stories. We're overwhelming at donation centers, especially with the Marie Kondo show, and everyone went crazy getting rid of their stuff. And so to me, in a way, that is music to my ears, right? That everyone is getting rid of all of this stuff. But of course, then it also brings up the conversation of, we know a lot of the stuff that goes to the donation centers is then later ends up in landfills, that there's just not enough need for all of this stuff that we're bringing. And so what other ways could we be discarding it? Either giving it to shelters, giving it to people within our context that might need it, or selling it has been some of the recommendations. And so as I've thought about this, we met a really sweet friend in North Carolina last week, and she shared with us how she had a contractor in her house. He was rewiring her whole house. So, he saw all of her house, and she said at the end, he kind of glanced around and said, "Oh, just another hoarder." And I was like, oh, as she shared that, my heart just sank, because I think most of us can probably relate to that feeling of either somebody stopping by unexpected and they see our house, in a way that is not ready for guests, or we have people over and they see an area of our house they weren't meant to see, like a storage area or a basement or something like that. And so we know that feeling of judgment, basically, of somebody else looking at us and judging us based on our stuff. And I don't think it's right. I think, we are so much more than our stuff and our houses and all of that, but yet I can relate to those feelings. But what was cool about it was that she then went on to say, I could have all of you all over right now. I would love to have you over. My house would be totally ready. I wouldn't have to get it ready or anything like that. So she was able to go on and declutter her house and simplify it. And she said how awesome it is to live in her house now. So it was very cool to hear that. But as I was thinking back on her story, I had the thought of remembering how much work it was to declutter our house, and if someone would have then put this burden on her of, oh, but you can't just bring everything to Goodwill. Nope, that's not right. You have to try and sell the stuff. You have to try and sort it out and, take the stuff that's good enough to go to a shelter and adhere to their guidelines of the things they will and will not accept. And you have to try and see if any of your friends or family need it, even though they probably don't need anything else either. And I just thought about that. If we had added this extra work to it, would she have been successful in simplifying her house? I don't know. I didn't get to ask her. I don't know what she actually did with her stuff. But what I want to encourage you today is that if you are still in the depths of decluttering your house, like you're in the hard work of going through stuff and you still have a lot to go, let's not worry about where this stuff is going, because to me, your peace of mind and your family's peace of mind and you having less stress in your life is so much more important than the possibility of that bag of clothing you're donating ending up in a landfill. You are so important, and the impact you have on the people around you is so important that I think for right now, let's just get it out of our house. Let's not let anything stand in the way of us getting this stuff out of our house. But now for us, like now being on the other side, we've done the hard work. So now we're kind of in maintenance mode. Now I can be much more aware of what we're doing with the stuff. So we have a Goodwill by us. I know people have mixed feelings about Goodwill, use your own convictions, but we also have another donation center run by a church. I find tons of good things for the kids there, and so I'm very grateful for it. And so I try to sort out the really good things now and bring them to that donation center. It's a little further from home. I have to be intentional about going there, but now I can do that. I've also mentioned I have a box of stuff for a women's shelter. I printed out the list of what they will and won't take. Most of it has to be brand new, and so I know now what can go in that box and what can't. And so because I'm on the other side of the really heavy lifting hard work of decluttering, I can be intentional about that now. The other thing is, my hope is that as we're going through this process, we're learning. We're learning not to buy all this stuff again, so we're not going to be in the same position again. So right now, yes, we might be overwhelming our local donation center with stuff, but that's not how it's going to be moving forward. It's kind of a one-time thing, because I've learned, it took a year to go through our house to get rid of everything that we weren't using, and it was a painful process. It was a time-consuming process, and I never want to have to do it again. And so I learned through that process, and I am a much more intentional shopper now, and I'm a better gatekeeper of what we allow into our house. And so I am hopefully never gonna have to go through that process again. I'm hopefully never gonna have loads and loads of stuff to bring to Goodwill again. And so I think it's great if we have the energy and the capacity to be really intentional about where this stuff is going. I think that's awesome. But if you are just in a place right now where you just need to get this stuff out of your house, you need to get it out of your house quickly before people start pulling stuff back in. I remember those days. Then let's not worry so much about where it's going. Let's worry about getting our house in order, getting our peace of mind back, and being confident in ourselves again. And then moving forward, let's be more intentional about where we get rid of stuff in the future. So this is just my 2 cents. I care about the earth. I care about, sustaining it for generations to come, but I also care about you and your emotional well-being too. And I just know how awesome it is to have a simplified house and to have it be clutter-free, to have it be where people can stop by and it's not a big deal. And I really want that for you too. And so I don't want anything to stand in the way of that. So I hope this helps. I would love to know what you do with your stuff. Do you have donation centers in your area that have closed their doors? We didn't have that experience, but I know some of you have shared that you have. And if so, are they reopening now? Do you have to travel a long ways to get rid of stuff? I would love to hear about that. I know one other thing that Tom and I did one time when we were moving, it was like the last day of packing, the U-Haul was full, and so we just started putting stuff out on the side of the road. We thought there was gonna be car accidents in front of our house, because it was like as soon as we got something out there, by the time we got back to the garage, someone was already pulled over and taking it. And so that was actually a kind of easy and painless way to get rid of stuff too. We knew it was going to people in our area that, I mean, hopefully could use it. I don't know, who knows that, but I don't have to worry about that. But that was another kind of easy way to get rid of stuff. So I'd love to know what you do with it. Have you had a good experience like on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist selling stuff? I know for Tom and I, the threshold was $50. So if we thought we could get $50 on Craigslist for it, then we would go through the work of selling it. That was kind of Tom's department. But other than that, I've said before, like most of my stuff was secondhand to start with, so or just wasn't worth a lot. So I would say 98% of the stuff that we got rid of in our house, we just donated. And so my hope is that someone did find use of it from one of the thrift stores in the area too. But again, it wasn't my concern at the time. My concern was just getting our house cleared out. So I hope this helps. Please share below what you do. I would love it if you subscribed if you haven't already, so we can spend more time together. Because I do know the pain of this process, but I do know how worthwhile it is too. So it's more fun if we do it together. Thank you for watching. Thank you for giving it a thumbs up, and I look forward to visiting with you again really soon.